Welcome back. After 3 months of traveling around Southeast Asia, I've got this packing thing figured out. Not necessarily perfectly, but I know what's in my bag, I know why it's there, and most importantly, I know what I threw out because I just didn't have space for it. And that's what we're going to cover today. Now, I want to be clear as to what this is not. This is not a gear review. This is simply a list of what I consider the fundamental building blocks that I use for my everyday needs as I slow travel. I will also share with you the things I threw out, which I'll just call them the just in case items that initially I had in my bag when I initially packed them in the States, because just in case I need this, or just in case they don't have this where I'm going. I'll share that with you so that you can learn from my mistakes. So let's start with the bags themselves. I have three. So I have a carry-on, a checked bag, and then a backpack that I use to carry my laptop and a few other items. And I know that there's a system out there where a lot of folks are carry-on only, and that's great, totally respect it, just doesn't work for me as a slow traveler. If I was fast traveling, if I was changing hotels every 3 or 4 days, the convenience factor would be all there, and I'd probably be more inclined to do that. I think for me, because I'm at a location for a month at a time, I'm able to unpack once, put the suitcases in the closet or in the corner of the hotel room, and I can, then move on and not have to pack it for 3 or 4 weeks. So for me, that's convenient. I think the other piece of this is the laundry. When you're in a place for 3 or 4 weeks, you're going to have access to regular laundry, and that, whether that be like shared with my video in Cambodia, or what I experienced in Bangkok, where it's a couple of dollars to have it sent out and washed, folded, and packed for you, and then delivered back to your hotel room. There's no reason to worry about not having clothing. So for those reasons, I think I approach it this way, and I'm curious to see what you're thinking about this system is. Hi, my name is Jeff. I retired, sold everything, packed a couple of bags, and I'm out traveling the world just trying to suck less each day. Packing for slow travel is a lot easier than packing for vacation. Now that sounds counterintuitive, but think about the fact that when you're on vacation, usually you've got some structured things that are going on. You're trying to pack for each one of those. You're not necessarily doing laundry, and as I've already shared, that laundry is basically, I do laundry about once a week. And this is going to be one of those times when it's easier to not pack less, but pack exactly what you need. You're not overpacking, you're not underpacking, but you're packing exactly what you need. So what I have for my travel is 8 t-shirts and a light button down. So I have a couple of collared shirts for anytime there's any kind of, like, I go out to a nice dinner or restaurant or meet friends, that has happened to a couple of times. 3 pairs of pants, one pair, for me, that's one pair of casual pants and a couple of pair of very specific to hot weather, light pants. And then 3 pair of shorts, and then 7 pair of socks and underwear, and one sort of light layer for if it's cool in the evening. And some destinations in Southeast Asia do get cool in the evening. Certain parts of the year, and so you want to be prepped for that. And I think, more importantly than anything else, your shoes. A lot of people overpack on their shoes. Ultimately, you just need one pair of good quality walking shoes and a pair of sandals, or like I have a pair of Keens that are water sandals, or water resistant, so that I can be in rain and not worried about it. And then one really good rain layer, so a rain jacket that is a really high quality one, but lightweight enough to pack. And that's the entire system. With me, the checked bag is the one where I pack most of my clothing. That's where I pack all of the, the things that I have in compression sacks, and you can make a decision as to whether you want to use compression sacks or not. I do. And then the carry-on is the one I have my camera equipment in, the DJI camera, as well as my GoPro. And then some of the other tech type stuff, or things that can't necessarily handle the rigors of being tossed in an airplane, the belly of an airplane. And then my backpack, of course, has my laptop, and I also carry medications in my backpack, because ultimately that backpack never leaves me at all during the entire time of the trip. So anything that's urgent that you absolutely have to have when you land, because again, bags get lost. I mean, I have trackers in all my bags, and I would highly encourage you to get Apple AirTags or some other kind of AirTag that allows you to make sure you're tracking those, and so that if they're for whatever reason lost or left behind or in a different part of the airport, you'll know where and how to get to them. But that backpack should have all of your things that you have to get, maybe one night of in a hotel, and if you're waiting on bags. So here's the most important part of the video. What have I actually tossed out once I started traveling? And I think it starts with just understanding how I even had stuff to throw out, because I'd not expanded my bags. But what I can tell you is the weight limit of the bags that we have had access to in the United States, whatever country you're coming from, I can only speak to the United States, is much higher than a lot of what you're going to find as you travel internationally. And so first off, get something to weigh your baggage with, because it's going to be one of those things that you're going to want to check every time you travel. Even though I pack the same way each time, each bag is weighed independently, and so you're paying for overages beyond the weight limit. So you want to make sure you've got the weight distribution correct. And so once I got over here, I'd packed the bags the way that I thought that they would work, and I got over here and I found that my next journey from Phnom Penh to Bangkok, I was going to have a weight limit that was below what my bags weighed. So I needed to get rid of some things, and so I started being critical about the things that I'd overpacked, just in case. Because again, there goes that phrase. You're going to find just in case is a pretty big category. And so I ended up having a couple of extra shirts. I ended up having a couple of pair of shorts. Those kinds of things that allowed me I had to basically ditch. I had a couple of actual compression bags full of things that I ended up tossing that first trip to Phnom Penh. And it's going to be a really critical time for you to get rid of things, but also you're going to validate that you can repurchase those on the road if you need them. And when you're out here on the road in Southeast Asia specifically, but I experienced the same thing in South America and in other parts of the world, it's very inexpensive to purchase things. Very inexpensive. You can buy the same thing, and as long as you're not getting something that's been brought into the United States, as long as you're getting something that's relatively consistent quality product, you're going to be able to buy it here. I've already mentioned, I think, a couple of videos, things like ibuprofen, and again, it's not the same packaging. It's a little bit different. The Tylenol, acetaminophen, those kinds of things. When you're buying a bottle of 100 or 500 to bring on your trip, because again, you don't know if you're going to be able to get it, you can get it. And hair products is another one. Obviously I don't necessarily need that, but that is one that can be large volume, a lot of weight, liquid, heavy weight, and you can leave that behind, because you can find all of that stuff here in Southeast Asia. If you're getting any value out of this content, make sure to hit the subscribe button. For most folks, the videos that you've seen around packing don't include one thing that I think is critical, and that is a discussion of what's your documentation system. Because when slow travel is your lifestyle, it's going to be important to get access to a lot of the documents that you're going to need. Now, I'm not talking about your passport or the things that you're using on a city by city basis, but there's going to be a group of documents that you're going to want to have access to. So for me, and I think for most, the first thing that you do is everything is loaded up to the cloud, to a cloud that allows you to have access by, subject or folder or however you categorize it, so that you can get access to things as you need. For example, I went out to a doctor in Bangkok to have my ankle looked at, and I need to get, he wanted the records from my previous ankle surgery. And so I was able to pull that down for him right there in the appointment and show him what those were. If you're in line at immigration, you may have a specific document that they want to actually see a physical copy of. When I was in Cambodia, I needed to provide a couple of different things that I was going to use for an extension that wouldn't have had access to without being able to print those copies out. And I think that's going to be important as you start traveling different parts of the world, is to be able to get access to the documentation. I also think it's important not just to have everything on your phone, but to have some kind of a physical small card or some kind of a laminated card that allows you to keep in a wallet that's on you, and a list of emergency contact, as well as your insurance, travel insurance information or your health insurance information that's physically with you, and it's written down, so it's not something where in an emergent situation somebody's going to have to scramble around looking for it and trying to get access to the internet, or if you're not if you're not in a situation where you can actually respond, they can quickly find out the information that they need and contact who they need to contact. So that would be another piece that I would highly recommend. Every city has its specific things that you're going to have to adapt to. Knowing that I was coming to Southeast Asia before going to Rome and Istanbul, I knew I was going to have quite a hot climate to be in. And now that I'm here, I packed appropriately. And then I had my plans change on my trip to Rome. I'm not, going through the Middle East anymore. I've made a change and I'm going through Helsinki, Finland. Shocker, Helsinki, Finland is cold right now this time of year, and I'm not prepped for that. So I can speak to having to make those adjustments on the fly, and ultimately it just means going to the mall and buying a couple of different things that allow you to layer more appropriately, and you can do that while you're out here. So I think those adaptations that you're going to make can be made with the right mindset. So I want to make it simple. This is not a gear problem. Packing for slow travel is not a gear problem. It's a mindset problem. The anxiety we feel and the need to overpack to offset that anxiety is removed as you start to slow travel and you're in these destinations for 3 to 4 weeks. You start to find the malls, find the markets, find the pharmacies. You're going to be able to find anything that you want and get, probably at a cost much less than what you paid initially back in the States. Tell me in the comments below, what is the one thing that stands out in your mind that you overpacked for in the past? Let's see if we have some hilarious answers there. I encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. Turn on the notification bell so you get the next video. And as always, be curious, be brave, and suck less each day. See you down the road.